Before we start this video, a huge thank you to everyone that watched my last video. I did not expect this one video to blow up that much. We went from 400 views to now, at the time of me writing this, 3.6 thousand. Also, thank you for more than 100 likes and all of the people that subscribed, and of course everyone that left a comment. But now, it is time to start this video. The idea came from one of the comments. Enjoy and consider liking and subscribing. Oh, and before I forget, this video is my own opinion on the matter, and I'm trying to capture my thoughts while thinking about the topic. This is not meant to be a well-researched essay that is 100% fact. Modules. This system was implemented all the way back in 2022. With the release of the Solace Holiday. It was here to stay and to become one of the greatest strengths of any operator that had one. But why were they created, and have they done good for the game? For this, we would have to go back to Walk on the Dust. This event released everyone's favorite Thunderbird, Passenger. But he was underwhelming because of his Chaincaster branch and low attack stat. But people saw potential in him and asked for buffs, and Hypergriff gave up these buffs. With the release of the Solace Holiday, the Chaincaster branch got buffed, and Passenger got an increase in attack. But there was one more thing. The first set of modules for Summoner and Instructor operators. These modules were the Sum X and Sum Y, Ins X and Ins Y module. These modules just are what we consider stage 1 versions. They were a nice increase in stats and expanded the branch of the subclass with some nice additional effects. It was almost like these modules were buffs. While not confirmed, many speculated these modules were a test to see how the players would receive these buffs to certain operators and subclasses. They would replace the need to actually do the usual buffs. Since Passenger was I think, first time they ever did buffs. So it is weird that they decided to give them alternatives to buffs in the same update. But was this idea of buffing the right way? First of all modules needed a new resource called Module Data Blocks. These items can be obtained once per week from weekly missions, 4 more can be obtained from the red cert and yellow cert shop each month, and then you can get a few from event shops. So you can get 12 per month outside of events, which doesn't really mean anything. 4 stars require 1 module block, T2 materials and 20k LMD. 5 stars need 2 blocks, T3 materials and 40k LMD. And 6 stars need 4 blocks, T4 material and 60k LMD. And then during the Solace we had 1 4-star Instructor and Summoner, 2 5-star Instructor and Summoner, and 1 6-star Instructor and Summoner, for a total of 18 module blocks, so it was doable with the help of the event shop. These stage 1 modules then gave the additional benefits to the branch, which was quite good. Instructors could be placed on rage tiles, making them more flexible, or they would deal more damage to enemies that were not blocked by them. Summoners got reduced DP costs on their summons and they could deploy more, but it would simply not count towards deployment limit. And then they would give an exact amount of stats which would work well with the modifiers on their skills, and give them the little push they need to be a good pick in a squad. And modules now became the thing, with every new event or story chapter bringing modules to a new branch of operators, and slowly most subclasses would gain modules, making for excellent buffs for their class and minor adjustments to the operator themselves. While it needed a bit of material, it was not outrageous. You could easily get it, even the few T4 materials needed for 6 stars wasn't a problem. And until this day, most subclasses got modules, with exceptions being the Mecha Cordcaster, Arts Protector, Juggernaut, Sentinel Iron Guard, Lord, Arts Fighter, Fighters, Liberators, Crushers, Wandering Medics, Incantation Medics, Chain Medics, Spread Shooter Snipers, Bard Supporters, Agents and Tacticians. But why do these branches not have modules? I and many others have a theory. But for this we have to first move a bit further in module history. Lingering Echoes, the Ebonholz event. This event added 2 additions to modules. Operators could now get multiple modules, because one thing I've mentioned before was that modules had different branch buffs, but what I didn't mention was that each operator only had access to one of those buffs. Now, with Lingering Echoes, they now had the chance to get the second module sometime in the future, and the other addition was the upgrading of modules to stage 3. And this was where the fun began. Each upgrade not only costed the same amount of module blocks again, it also demanded more T2, 3 or 4 materials and 5k, 10k, 20k more LMD for each upgrade. It also needed a new resource, data supplement sticks and instruments. These were only accessible through the event shop or the new mode Stationary Security Service, SSS for short. A mode that was not very fun because of its extreme spikes in difficulty, but this is another topic entirely. But was it worth using more materials to upgrade these modules? Honestly, yes, it is worth. And not only would increase their stats even more, they would also buff their talents or in some cases add new talents to them. Suddenly, many operators got way stronger because of these talent improvements. The Abyssal Hunters benefited a lot from these modules since their modules would buff the talents that buff other Abyssal Hunters. Meaning, Claudia would give even more HP regeneration based on maximum HP, Scully would supply additional attack and HP, Spectre would now give a buff to increase stealth damage, and Triana would give them even more ASPD, and Spectre the Unchained would give more HP and SG regen. This made an Abyssal Hunter squad unkillable, because of 2 HP buffs they got, which synergizes well with a maximum HP regen from Claudia. And in that way, but not to that extreme, many other operators would profit as well from these modules, so that it would balance out some of their weaknesses. For example, Fiammetta is an artillery sniper, with her skills being charged on attack. Her module would increase her ASPD when she is not using her skill, meaning she is charging her skills faster. But the longer you think about it, the more you might realize that these buffs were a mistake. While weaker operators finally got the buffs they needed to be of use, strong operators in the same branch would also get stronger, meaning the power difference remained, because they all gained similar benefits from those modules. So we are buffing something that is weak, but also buffing something that didn't need buffs in the first place. And obviously new operators released for a certain branch would also get their modules on release, and with that the buffs to their talents and branch. And from my last video we know that operators have gotten stronger over the years. And modules are exactly the reason as to why new operators also got stronger, which was the one thing I forgot to mention in this video. But now let's jump back a bit. Earlier in the video I listed branches that did not get a module yet. There's no time to elaborate on the theory I mentioned. The reason these classes didn't get a module yet is because they already have had strong operators prior to module release. Meaning they were in no need to get buffs like the other branches. I mean, could you imagine the power creep that would happen if Golden Glow, Surta, Mudrock, Shen Outer or Scully Outer would get a module? These operators would become very strong and game breaking. The usability would skyrocket once again. Because of these strong operators, the weaker operators are locked out from getting any buffs as well. It will take longer for them to actually receive a module. My poor Frostleaf will never get a module because of Silver Ash and Thorns. And before anyone complains, I am aware that Arknights is mainly PvE and the difficulty depends on the operators you bring. I know that this was the comment I saw the most under my last video. And speaking of comments, the one that inspired me said that you wouldn't even need skills to clear 70% of the game. Which is most likely true. You could test it, but in the end it depends on which operators you bring. If you would put down all the Abyssal Hunters, they could clear the game by themselves. I am pretty sure of that. Some of the stronger 6-stars can also do it with their stats alone. And since Myrtle got her module, Flagpipe would also go hard without skills. And lastly, I have to address the elephant in the room. As of episode 13, the newest episode that is about to be released on CN, Ebonholz now has 3 modules. If this continues, he is going to have the entire alphabet as modules. Anyway, the point being that now every operator could potentially get a 3rd module somewhere down the line, meaning you have to invest even more resources in some of the 6-stars. Especially when they turn out to be useful in certain situations or on certain teams. Now then, with this it is time to state my own opinion on the matter. Modules were a good idea, and the stages and multiple modules are not that much of a problem. Arknights is a gacha, so it is like a part-time job with all the farming you have to do, so I don't really mind the material cost. But in my own opinion, the biggest problem they have is how they were implemented. It should not have been implemented as branch buffs, but individual buffs. This would have led to a more curated list of operators that actually need buffs, instead of operators that just get stronger because they happen to be in that branch. It would have also gotten rid of the problem that operators are receiving their modules very late because others in the branch are stronger. But now, this should do it for this video. If you want to see more, check out my other videos, or go to my Twitch. In the future I will try to do more Arknights stuff on stream again, because recently I wasn't feeling streaming all too much. And once again, thank you for all of the support my last video got.